speaking of sharing alcohol, you know who I love to share a cocktail with?
Let me guess. Let me see. Is it a writer?
Yes.
Is it a historian?
Yes.
Does she split time? Has she split time between California and Massachusetts?
Yes.
Okay. Does she dig the Civil War, U.S. Western history, and American culture in general?
I mean, yeah.
Okay. Has she written for the New York Times, the Washington Post, the Smithsonian Magazine, Preservation Magazine, and the Civil War Monitor?
Check, 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 and check.
Well, you know what? I'm beginning to get a sense that the person we're going to be talking to actually earned their BA in History and Literature from Harvard, their PhD in American Studies from Iowa, and taught at Texas Tech, Cal State Fullerton, Harvard, and Brown. And if I have winnowed it down enough, I've come to believe that she might in fact be the author of The Three-Cornered War, Ruined Nation, and Trembling Earth. And for the purposes of this show, I think she wrote Saving Yellowstone. I just can't remember her name. Lindsay, what is it?
No, well, not that it's forgettable, but maybe it's because you're still hungover from 30 years ago.
Hugh.
That could be it.
Hugh.
But, we transitioned in this to say, who I want to share a cocktail with, and then he went into your Bona Fides, and then I hear that giggle in the background, which means it's time for Western of the Month, which means it's Megan Kate Nelson.
In the house.
Welcome back to the main stage.
On a Thursday.
Are we going to sing some Blue Eyes Crying in the Rain?
Oh, my God. Blue eyes crying in the rain.
See, you should sing it, and Jamie and I will just listen.
You know what? I'm fine with that as well. Ladies and gentlemen, I sound like a stripper, like a strip club, but please welcome back to the main stage, Megan Kate Nelson. Hey, Dre, should we give her a proper intro?
How's that?
With her intro.
I don't know if we can play it.
I'm not sure we can play it, Lindsay.
Why?
We don't know if we own the rights to that particular music.
Oh, my God.
I
Play
think-
it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Hey, I'll play it if you pay it.
This is a pay or play situation we're talking about here. By the way, actually, Lindsay, the other reason we can't play it is it's Saturday morning. Actually, Claire mentions the fact that it's Saturday morning when we do it. She actually
Well, what,
says,
is Claire busy or something and can't do a new intro? What is she booking 97 guests a week right now and doing imaging or something?
I know. I know. And by the way, have you checked out the new website?
Oh, and doing a website?
I didn't
What?
do that. I didn't do that. I know. Maybe you did it. Maybe Megan Kate Nelson did it. By the way,
Oh, I didn't do it.
I definitely
for
did.
sure.
I'm going to tell you
I
both.
almost deleted my own website twice this week. So,
Nice.
you don't want me in charge of any of that technology.
I mean, you can't figure out a title, pal. Let's get real for things.
Hey.
No, didn't you solidified on a title for the new book, right?
Oh, yeah, I fought
we-
for that title.
And are we unveiling it? Can we say it yet? I can't remember.
You can, yes. It is, in fact, up on the Simon & Schuster website and up on Amazon.
All right, go for it. Now, ladies and gentlemen, first of all, so let's welcome, because this is Megan Kate Nelson's first time appearing on Road Gang Radio, which is the new installation, which you're going to have so much fun on moving forward, Megan Kate, because we do what we want to do, say what we want to say, so just, let it all hang out here. It's just us girls here.
Nice.
You can say ass now.
Can I swear?
Yeah.
Sure.
Do me
Just
one.
let's steer clear of the F word,
Let's-
but other than that.
Yeah. And the see you next Tuesday. We can avoid that one.
Right.
too.
Well,
yeah,
Megan
no, we
doesn't
don't-
use-
I would
she just-
never say.
Tara uses it all the time. She loves that word. Tara the Terrific.
God.
It's amazing. Please.
You can only
Say
use that if you're British. The British people use that
That's true.
just
That's true.
all the time. Yes.
So Megan is our in-house historian and just bona fide badass author, and we talk to her once a month, every month, as we did on that last platform, which shall not be named. And she like so many other guests and sponsors and friends, has decided to make the move with us
Rally
into
to our
this,
cause!
yes, into the next generation, which is Radio Nemo here at Road Game Radio. So today, we are talking about Red-Headed Stranger, starring the good and the great Willie Nelson, Red-Headed Stranger, which came out in 1986. It was a low-budget Western film based on Willie Nelson's 1975 concept album, So Good, of the same name, Red-Headed Stranger. Willie plays a preacher named Julian Shea, who's battling grief and guilt and vengeance. And he has coming through personal tragedy. It leads him down a dark path, starting to sound like Willie's life. He rides from redemption to rage, and back again across the dusty terrain of an old frontier town. It's parked a morality tale and a Willie dreamscape, but it's all Willie. I'm still high from watching it. Megan, was this your first time watching it?
Oh, it was. I've never heard of it before.
What?
I know. It's terrible.
That's okay. I'd never watched it, but it was filmed in Texas. I'm going to guess, Jim, this was not your first time seeing this film.
It was not my first time seeing this film. It was not my first time seeing this film, although I was glad I saw it because I had a couple of really great thoughts in regards to this segment, a chance to actually open up this segment and give you, Lindsay, a chance to broaden of what we can choose for Western of the Month. I think you will enjoy what I actually realized when I was watching it because it falls under the same category as Kenny Rogers the Gambler and Kenny Rogers in Coward of the County, where a famous musician plays a character that they actually help create in the form of a song. This is a tradition, by the way, that goes all the way back to Roy Rogers and Gene Autry. This is a Hollywood trope that has been with us since the invention of sound. The Western joined us early with the invention of sound. It existed during the silent pictures. It makes its way up into the talkies. And as soon as the talkies are invented, Roy Rogers and Dale Evans and Gene Autry and a whole lot of other singing cowboys are on horses, pulling guns and having hot lead fly all over the place and singing a little song in between. So this is part of that tradition, and a rather groovy one. So it was kind of great to revisit it. I did want to ask you both one question. So you guys, in our last Western of the Month, we did My Darling Clementine, which I was delighted you both really liked. Did you guys notice how structurally similar visually it was to My Darling Clementine? How it had a lot of the same elements in regards to the town, the bare landscape, the tower. You know, the gunfight at the end had no musical scoring. It was quiet, mean-spirited. You had a father who abused and loved his boy simultaneously, and the sons were kind of incompetent. There was a lot of the same stuff kind of rolled through. I don't know if you noticed it. Would kind of want to toss that to both Megan and then Lindsay.
I did not notice that, but I'm not surprised by that because, aside from the silent shootout, we see so many of these themes, right? And really, The Red-Headed Stranger, it has all of them. Like, it packed a lot of our usual Western themes and images into, a relatively spare movie, like an hour and 50 minutes or so. The revenge plot, the big bad family plot that has taken control of the town, kind of morally dubious main character, the romance plot, the kind of feisty woman. I actually quite enjoyed the Catherine Ross character, Lori. I thought that was a great kind of plot line, and I sort of wanted to know more about her and her son and where they came from and where they picked up their Chinese laborer, who unfortunately was only on screen for a minute, but moves the plot forward. And it had everything. I loved Willie Nelson in a lot of it, except for the romance stuff. I just did not.
It was terrible.
I love Willie Nelson, but it was just so, if I may use the language of the young'uns, it was cringe.
Well, I think that maybe that's just art imitating life, because Willie hasn't been the great in romance in life either. He's had a lot of women, but that doesn't mean it's, Listen, I haven't been there when Willie's been making love, but it feels like he's probably, and okay, here's how it would be in my head. I feel like Willie is like having a romantic or a intimate moment with a woman, and all I can think about is, what am I going to write about this? I got to get out of bed and write
You're
something.
always
You know
on
what I
my
mean?
mind.
You're always
Except
on my
when
mind.
I was with you.
Yeah, like I got to get out of bed and write a song, and that's not hot. It's just not.
It's not. And I just couldn't figure out. I mean, I loved seeing Morgan Fairchild as his wife, who ultimately runs away, and then he kills her in cold blood along with her lover. I was like, it was a total blast from the past. I don't know if you guys felt that. I was like, I have not seen this iteration of Morgan Fairchild. Like, she is so, like, I came of age in the 1980s. So, like, Dynasty and Falcon Crest and the kind of the nighttime soaps.
And Pee-wee's Big Adventure.
Embedded.
Love.
And Pee-wee's Big Adventure.
The greatest Western of all times. So, Jim,
Yes.
to your point, I don't know if I made a connection between Clementine, but yeah, as far as the set, I mean, because the sets in this, they aren't polished, and that's kind of the best part. Like, it feels almost like handmade or something. Like, it's not perfect, and so it really makes the desert be a character in and of itself, I think. But that also, it also correlated to me that the sets and the kind of sparseness of that goes along with the music, which obviously, I love the music in this, and we want to talk about the soundtrack from this, but it's the same way that the music from the Red-Headed Stranger album tells a story. It does it in this too. It weaves its way, through the film. Like, it's not a soundtrack, it's the narrator. There's so many times where songs are just in the background, or they're setting a scene, like they're setting the mood. But these songs are really, to me, were the real soul of the scenes. And I don't know if I was pushing that, wanting for that, or if that's really, it was kind of, y'all think the music carried it through. But it feels like you're watching a music video before music videos even existed, almost.
Well,
yeah, totally. And I thought, I think you have to watch this movie. If you don't know who Willie Nelson is, I think you miss a lot of that stuff. I know, but, ask some of the kids these days. Do you think they know who Willie
I think they know who he is.
is?
You know why they know who he is? Because he hangs out with Snoop and because he likes that Mary Do You Wanna.
He's got a new weed drink. That's why people know who he is. He's got Willie Juice out on the market now.
At 92. At 92.
Yeah, dude.
It's tremendous.
Willie Juice at 92.
I know. You have to kind of know who he is to sort of get great joy, I think, out of the way that this movie kind of unfolds. And I don't know. Jimmy, that was a great point that you made about this being part of that kind of long history of Westerns and singing cowboys. But, are there other movies where they're doing exactly as you're saying, Lindsay? Like the character has been created by the songwriter and the musician.
Kenny Rogers in The Gambler.
Is it The Gambler?
An urban cowboy is with John Travolta, which you could make a case as a neo-western.
Oh.
It's literally the result of two things. It's a magazine article that then is turned into a song. Or Looking for Love. All those songs that come out of it, where they actually came up with they had the article, then the songs, then the screenplay.
Right.
What about Christopherson?
Yeah, and then you get Christopherson, who does, the thing is, though, Christopherson's interesting, though. He doesn't create the character, but in Sam Peckinpah, who actually has a minor role in the creation of this movie, The Red-Headed Stranger, Christopherson and Bob Dylan, of course, do the music for Pat Garrett and Billy the Kid, where he plays Billy the Kid, and Dylan is actually in that movie as well. There's actually, here's the thing, there is so many movies like this in regards to Gene Autry and in regards to Dale Evans, and there's so many singing cowboy movies. If you just look up the genre of singing cowboy, watch what you get. You'll get a ton of them. What has happened now is, rather than, like I said, with The Gambler and with this, and it happened a lot with Kenny Rogers, Dolly Parton, and Willie Nelson, where you get these people, they write the song. Eddie Rabbitt actually is in a movie. It's not a Western, but called Step by Step. I kid you not, where the song he wrote, Step by Step, gets turned into a movie. The whole thing about, Tulsa Time, Lindsay, the song
was written by our friend David Malloy, by the way.
Very cool. Very cool. So, Tulsa Time by Don Williams, right?
Mm-hmm. The lyrics from the writer hanging in my living room.
Yeah, and he says, here I am in Hollywood, wishing I was doing good, talking on the telephone line. Is that Williams goes out there because the big thing in the mid-'70s to late 70s was you get out there and you write a song, and then the song gets you in the movie, and then maybe they make a movie of your song eventually. was kind of one of the strategies. By the way, our friend D. Taylor said Willie said he can't inhale anymore, but he doesn't smoke any less.
That's true. Let me tell you, if you go, so it's called, the drink is actually called Willie's Remedy, by the way. And here's the quick you can go to drinkwillies.com. They are not a sponsor of ours, although I would love that. Here's the vision behind the drink. Willie's vision. Imagine a world where peace flows freely, where hangovers are a thing of the past, and every sip invites clarity, calm, and connection. This is the vision behind Willie's Remedy, a cannabis-infused beverage line inspired by the legendary man himself. Crafted to honor his lifelong journey with cannabis. He just, so if you want to write like Willie or, listen, I can't smoke. I couldn't smoke with Willie if my life depended on it. Okay, anyway. I know. But yes, he can't inhale anymore, but he doesn't smoke any less. That's a good point.
It's hilarious. Yeah.
Let me.
Yeah, I mean.
Go ahead.
Oh, go ahead, Jim.
No, go ahead. We're all excited. Everybody's like trying to be polite. Don't be polite, Megan. You're the guest. Talk.
Okay. All right. Oh, yeah. Here we go. No. I just thought, like, one of the things when I looked up the story of this film, the idea that Robert Redford was attached to it for a little while.
And Sam Peckinpah was supposed to direct him.
Yeah.
How about that? Crazy.
And I'm like, now think about that. Because, I mean, Catherine Ross and Robert Redford had been in Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid.
Correct.
And they were great and very sexy and a lot of charisma and a lot of like crackling energy. And I was just kind of thinking about what this film would have been like with Robert Redford in the main role, and maybe like Willie Nelson as the sheriff. That would have been interesting.
Yeah, that's what I kept.
Plot twist.
I kept thinking about. Actually, that was exactly what I thought too. And I thought if Peckinpah had directed this with Redford in the main role, and and the idea of can you? And by the way, this was pitched around as Heaven's Gate. They really wanted Redford, Jane Fonda, and Catherine Ross as the three as one of the triangles they talked about in that film. I mean, can you imagine this movie with that combination? And it ends up getting made for like $1.5 million because Willie just wanted to make it so bad, and he wanted a starring role for himself. He really wanted to play a starring role. Lindsay, I'm going to come back to Lindsay's point because I don't like this movie. I don't like the way it treats women in this movie. I feel so bad for Morgan Fairchild. He is such a selfish man. He never checks in on her. They never go riding together. He doesn't do anything with her. He just ignores her. And then it's like, and then I will walk over and commit a worse crime. At least when they hang the guy, that guy really was trying to defend himself. Well, he just walks into a bar and kills two people because she's cheating on him. And nothing happens
with his
to him.
collar on.
Yeah.
With his collar
With
on.
his collar on. But I want to go back to Lindsay's point because you're right about the music, Lindsay. The sound mix on this film is terrible, meaning there are moments where you can't hear any ambient sound. But you're right, Lindsay. The music is so darn good that the moment they cut to those songs and put him on horseback, you suddenly get a sense of what this film could have been. And by the way, you will enjoy it, guys. It's a good, clean plot. It's fine. It's a great way to pass the time. It's just not a good movie. But you're absolutely right, Lindsay. The music just elevates it instantly. Like
and if you love Willie, I think you
absolutely
you will like this. Just to be intrigued around it. But I'm curious what you guys think. And Megan, knowing what makes both of you guys know this. What makes Western characters great, or what makes us love to hate them? Why is it that what makes Willie Nelson so believable as both a preacher and an outlaw? Like what is it about that makes that juxtaposition work?
Yeah, I mean, you know more about his kind of life and his biography than I do. I think
his
I know
biography
his
is
a little bit more.
So good. Speaking of, if you haven't read his biography, I cannot recommend it enough because it's not linear. It's really interesting how he pops back and forth throughout life. I highly suggest it. I'm sorry, go on.
Ooh, okay. Yeah, no, I mean, I think that, musicians have, I think in general, the kind of vibe where they are a little bit of an anti-hero, right? Like they're kind of good guys, they're kind of bad guys. They get mixed up in a lot of stuff. Drugs and violence, and, they are on the road. They are, often away from home and going into new towns. So I think this is actually a pretty good parallel. And I think the role of the preacher is actually really good. And the setup wasn't good enough. Like, I kept wondering, like, what were they doing in Philadelphia? Like, how did he even meet Morgan Fairchild's character, Raisha? Like, how did they even meet? How did they court? He seems much older than her. So, like, why would she even marry him in the first place? And then he, like, drags her out to Montana. But he is this, I think, very good, solid character in a Western that we, see again in Clint Eastwood characters, right? And basically all of his movies, but also something like Unforgiven, where he's trying to live the good life, right? He's trying to be good, but he just can't help but be bad. And I think that's also a theme. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, Lindsay, but I feel like that's a theme in all of country music.
I'm trying to be good, but you're making it real hard today, God.
Well, yeah. I mean, because I think, at least in the good country music, there's so much honesty that is why a lot of people aren't bigger stars in like the Willie kind of way, because so many people are afraid to say the thing and to speak the truth and to admit, I did this, I thought this, I was this, but now I'm not, or I'm trying to not be. You know what I mean? Not a lot of people want to say that on a bigger platform, and so I think that's why people like Willie. I mean, we're getting more of a truth telling stage, but everybody does, for the most part, like to be really polished, especially in pop and other things. So, and it's all about your image and your persona. But whereas country, the outlaw country, the real rough and storyteller country is like, here's the truth, and that's why people identify it with it. People identify with it quietly and secretly. Sometimes maybe in their closet, they don't want to say they love it or why they love it, but it's because they're like, oh shoot, I did that too, but Willie just said it for me.
Yeah, and you can see that conflict in him, I think, and especially like the first part of the movie, I was kind of like, okay. The middle part I thought was great, where like, he's on his rampage, it's the revenge plot, and then you see him like really wrestling with, especially, he says that he goes back to help on the farm just because he was tired of running or whatever. But I'm like, I think it's because he knew he got the Chinese kid killed. And he felt like terrible about that in a way that he hadn't felt terrible about killing many other people, including his own wife and including the poor girl who, is part of a horse stealing ring. I mean, that's why I think I was like, this movie had everything. Like, they threw every single Western scenario into this movie, which I think maybe Jimmy is, because I agree with you. This movie is not great. But there are many things that I kind of admired about it. And I did keep thinking, like, in someone else's hands,
and by the way,
could have been really great.
Really great. By the way, I was never bored. I want to make this really clear, guys. You're going to enjoy it. You're going to watch it. It's going to go by, and it goes by really quickly as well.
Is it, Jim and Megan, at this late in life, can there be a remake? And to get it right.
I could fix this movie in 3 months. In a screenplay, I could fix it in 3 months.
And should Willie at 92 still play it, or who could play that part?
No, Willie could play the first guy that gets shot. He could play the guy that gets shot. That's who Willie should play.
And then who's Willie?
Well, I'll tell you after the break, by the way.
Perfect.
We're going to have Megan hang around here for a second. We're going to take phone calls as well. Phone lines are open. The conversation is going to get a little bit more loosey-goosey. Fastport, by the way, solves America's toughest recruiting and workforce challenges through research, technology, and the people. From registered apprenticeships to veteran readiness, you can learn more at fastport.com or go to nationalapprenticeship.org. Welcome back. Hey, Lindsay Lawler. We got our friend still with us, correct?
We do. Megan Kate is still here. Before we went to break, you said this show's going to get the next part's going to get a little loosier, goosier. Mm-hmm. And so this has nothing to do with what we're talking about, which is why I'm going to say it anyway. But yesterday, I thought about this during the commercial break. Yesterday, right when we got off the air, I was a little scattered, and I went to pull out my supplements to take, my vitamins I take every day, but I was also giving my dog her pills, and I took my dog's pills instead. I took all my dog's pills and then was like, oh my God, did I take my dog's pills? So the good news is I did not itch all day yesterday. I did not itch, and I was pretty reserved. I didn't have any anxiety. I didn't itch. The bad news is I shook my butt a lot, and it really got in some people's way.
Well,
So anyway,
let me ask you a question, though. By the time you were done doing that, was Seamus disturbed when you were actually pulling yourself across the carpet on your ass? I'm just curious.
no, because that's my mating call. That's what I do every night.
Oh, I see. Welcome back, guys. It's Road Gang Radio. I'm calling it Rogaine Radio these days. I don't know how that's working out for people.
That needs to be a sponsor.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. My God. Could you imagine them as a sponsor? They got a lot of people in the chat who are like, I don't need any more of that. By the way, our good friend Doodah Man actually lit one up with Willie.
Yeah, buddy. Really?
He really lit one up with Willie. He didn't light one up just. That'd be kind of funny, wouldn't it? Yeah, I just lit one up. You guys got me so excited, I had to burn a big one.
He needs to call in to tell us about that.
Hey, by the way, guys, you can, if you want to actually tell Megan hello for the first time, give us a ring at 615-292-6366.
That's 615-292-NEMO.
I wanted to bring up something here, and we'll talk about the remake of this film in a second. But I do want to bring this up really quickly. I think that we can actually open up this, Lindsay, in regards to your choices. I'm not saying that you shouldn't choose Westerns. Love the idea of you choosing a Western. But if you want to pick stuff like Tender Mercies, Coal Miner's Daughter, Patsy, Crazy, I mean, there's
Is there a movie called Crazy?
Yeah, there's a movie called Crazy.
Oh yeah, anything. So you're saying anything that has a based in whether it be a country star or country music history.
And I was thinking about this, and here's why: because so much of the structure of country and western movies, like Crazy Heart, Falling from Grace, comes to mind, which was directed and starring John Mellencamp, by the way. The mini
That would be cool.
The miniseries George and Tammy, Grand Theft Parsons, which by the
Could
way,
we do George and Tammy and call it a western?
well, we could actually. The best way to do George and Tammy would, because it's a series. We would probably do it as a separate podcast, going through each episode is the way you could probably do that. Willie Nelson, by the way, in Honeysuckle Rose. Don't forget Clint Eastwood and Honky Tonk Man. I bring up these movies because the structure of them is the same as a Western. They have to overcome obstacles, and what you're doing is it always ends in a final concert. The concert becomes the showdown, the singer-songwriter with their demons and the audience and everything else to play. There really is a gunfighter element, and the structure is very similar, and the costumes are exactly the same. Straight up exactly the same. I mean, and like Urban Cowboy, which is not, either. Yeah, Urban Cowboy is great, by the way. It's great.
Oh, it is.
It's great.
I mean,
it's
got some super problematic elements to it. Where
Not
you're like,
super,
this isn't
like
aging
super
well.
duper.
Yeah, and I was actually haunted as a child. I watched that as a kid, and because my mother loved John Travolta, and I was haunted by that tequila scene where it's Scott Glenn, isn't it? Is the bad guy in that?
Oh yeah.
And he drank the worm.
Ugh.
By the way,
And
I
was haunted by that for like several years.
By the way, Lindsay, I love an Urban Cowboy. Her choices are a man who actually physically abuses her and a guy who only hits her occasionally when she needs to be put back in the line. Those are her choices.
Aw, what a great guy.
Our friend,
Yeah, super awesome plot. Yeah.
By the way, Marshall has joined the conversation. He's firing up a cigar. He'll be driving by Franklin tomorrow morning and waving out the window at you, Lindsay.
My cigar smoking buddy. What's up, MP? Marshall Platter in the house. Marshall makes really great dash cam videos, and he'll set it sometimes to my music, which is really cool, but all kinds of trucking songs. They're beautiful to watch. So anyway, if you guys know Marshall Platter, give him a shout out. Megan, that's the thing now. With our new platform, we can see people commenting in real time over on YouTube, as well as FaceTime, letting us know what they want to get in the conversation if they can't call or whatever. So it's a really fun addition.
Awesome.
Yeah.
It really is groovy. We had a couple of friends we hadn't seen in a while drop in on Facebook yesterday. Tara often texts me when people are dropping in on Facebook so I can jump over there as well. Don't forget, guys, you can participate on all of those platforms, and that's only going to increase. And don't forget as well, too, that Tara joins us twice a week, once on Mondays and then on Friday for Breaker Back Talk, where she reads the best of your comments and your participation on all the social media. By the way, Doodah Man asked me a question. I don't know if you guys have seen this movie. You both would love it if you haven't. Robert Redford in Electric Horseman. It was Electric Horseman, not Electric Cowboy. And, of course, the director of that was Sidney Pollack, to give people a sense of that as well. It's a really good movie. I know you and Lindsay would love it. Okay, Lindsay, you asked the question, how would you remake this movie? So we will start with you, Lindsay. Who do you cast? Who do you cast in the lead?
Morgan Wallen.
Oh, no, it's not casting Morgan.
No, I'm kidding.
Nate Bargatze. Yeah, no.
Oh, yeah, maybe. Nate Bargatze, yeah. Shoot, I asked. I cast him as lead for everything. Well, it probably would have to be a musician, right? Or be somebody completely different from Willie. Maybe that's the right move.
Let me see. You could probably take a look at Carl Urban, who's always my go-to these days. You can always throw a little Carl Urban your way.
I don't know who that is.
You know Carl Urban is The Boys. You know Carl Urban. You know him.
He was also in all the Hobbit movies.
Oh, yeah, okay. I'm with you.
Yeah,
He's Australian.
He's Australian. He's New Zealand.
Yes.
I think he's a New Zealand guy. Guy. Maybe he's
okay.
He's a righteous dude. Lindsay, when you see him, you'll love. He played Judge Dredd. Terrific actor. But who would you pick, Lindsay? Who would you pick if you had to pick a country and western music star? And by the way, the role has to be cast younger. Willie's too old for the role. He's too old.
Yeah, I'm trying to think. Like, is it like somebody that's like a Zach Top, Tyler Childers, like somebody doing that storytelling kind of. But I don't know if they're actors or not.
Doesn't make any difference. By the
Oliver
way,
Anthony.
By the way, Willie would be great in this if he had a good director because there are shots of him.
Maybe Lucas Nelson.
Yeah, I mean, Luke, that's not a bad. That's a good get. But Willie's not the problem. The problem is that the director isn't good enough to make this work. That's not Willie.
All right,
by the
so
way,
who do you choose to direct it besides yourself?
Oh my God, who would I actually pick to direct this? Maybe Andrew Dominic, who did Killing Them Softly and the assassination of Jesse James by the coward Robert Ford, comes to mind. It definitely needs a really kind of sure hand and a really kind of sad overlay to it as well.
Well, and as well, whoever's playing it, like the thing that Willie to me does great in this film. Maybe it hurt it, I don't know, but it was just so peaceful and Willie to me. Is that Willie's okay with the quiet. Willie's okay with the space and the pause that creates, even if it's sort of an anxiety-ridden piece, but it's still a piece. You know what I mean? Like there's a scene at one point where I think it's the sun setting. He's on a horse and he's just staring off into the distance. It's like almost for a minute. It feels like. Yeah. But in that moment, it's like it's your own reset, and just such a nice recalibration. And there's not a lot of people I think that there's plenty of people can do it, but somebody would have to be very cognizant of that quiet. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I do actually. I had an interesting idea, by the way, Lindsay, based on what you just said. And Marshall wrote that he would put Dwight Yoakam. I wouldn't.
That's not bad.
I wouldn't cast Yoakam in the lead. I'd cast Yoakam. There's so
Chris
many,
Isaac.
There are so many good country and western singer who are actors and very good performers. It might be fun to simply fill it out with them, to get a first-class director and have a whole bunch of famous folks from the country and western music scene play these characters. Dwight Yoakam is a terrific villain, by the way. If you've seen The Panic Room, he is so good as the most evil of the three thieves, as he almost steals the movie right from under everybody. It's crazy. We got Pack Rat on the phone, by the way, Lindsay. He's calling. He's got a question for Megan. We want to get him in here.
We love Pack Rat. And before we say hi to Pack Rat, Dave Nemo says that Harry Styles should play the lead.
Not bad. Harry Styles would be good as the young son that gets hung, by the way. That's a terrible piece of miscasting. The guy that gets hung is like basically 80 compared to his 12-year-old wife. But continue, please.
Good morning, Pack Rat. Welcome to the zoo. How are you?
I'm fine, Miss Lindsay, Miss Megan. Great to have you on, and Jimmy Mack. Good morning again.
Thank you, sir.
Good morning.
I want to bring up my favorite spaghetti western, and I hope you probably remember they call me Trinity, the Trinity series.
I got nothing.
Do you know this one? Do you guys don't?
No.
By the way, this stuff is priceless. Okay, Pack Rat, I'm gonna give you a good 30 seconds to unpack the Trinity series, which, by the way, is a lot longer on radio than you think it is. So tell them what Trinity is.
I saw the movie at a drive-in years ago, but it stars Terrence Howard, and he's a sort of a lawman, I guess, and fastest gun in the West, and he does stupid stuff there, and it's really funny. It's pretty good for a spaghetti western.
Have you ever seen? Have you guys ever seen the spaghetti westerns? Have you ever seen those?
Give me
we've
one
seen
that
a couple of them, yeah.
Yeah, I'm sure I've seen a couple, but give me a couple. Give me some examples.
Well, it's what made Clint Eastwood a star. The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly, A Fistful of Dollars, Once Upon a Time in the West, of course, which actually is so good it moves past being a spaghetti western. Did you see Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, Lindsay, with Brad Pitt and Leonardo DiCaprio?
Yes.
That's what Leonardo DiCaprio is based off of, the Hollywood actors who revitalized their career by going to Italy to then fly to Spain to then make westerns that were actually set in the Spanish deserts. That's what a spaghetti western is. So they had all these Italian directors built this big studio of like western towns and western locations in the Spanish desert. That's why all the actors in those movies don't look American, because they're not. and by the way, if I remember correctly, the Trinity series includes They Call Me Trinity, and my favorite title of all times, guys, Trinity Is Still My Name, is the sequel.
Yeah, I just looked this up, and then Revenge of Trinity.
Oh my! Oh, that's the third one. It's called Revenge of Trinity. I think that's just priceless.
Yeah.
That's just quality filmmaking right there. But they have one, Lindsay, with Rod Steiger and James Coburn, called Duck You Sucker, or A Fistful of Dynamite. It's got two different titles depending upon what country you're in.
Is it Duck You Sucker or is it Duck You Sucker?
No, it's Duck, you sucker.
Okay. Thank you. The comma is punctuation is very important.
So, by the way, in that movie, Rod Steiger plays a Spaniard, and James Coburn plays a man who has escaped from the IRA during the Troubles, and they go to Mexico to blow up trains.
Oh my God.
That's what
Of course they do, because they love to blow up trains.
They love to blow up trains.
They love to blow up trains. All right, we only have we've held Meg and Kate on longer than we asked for her, but so we will leave with this. Megan, give everybody listening a little, if you can and you will, an overview of the new book, some release date, some information, break some stuff here first for us on Road Gang Radio, including the title again.
And thank you, Pack Rat.
Yes.
Love you, Pack Rat. Oh, Pack Rat.
Yes, so the book is in production now. It has officially been accepted into production at Scribner. It is called The Westerners.
Yes.
Love it.
Yes, myth-making and belonging on the American frontier.
Oh my God, I love it. I just got chills when you said the subtitle.
I know. So it takes you through the 19th century American West and kind of goes back and forth between two different narratives. One is the real people who were moving in and around the West in the 19th century and building lives for themselves. And then the frontier myth that's emerging at the same time, that's only really emphasizing one group of people, which are the kind of white Easterners who are coming west. So it's giving you a little bit of myth and reality. It's putting you on the ground with 7 super fascinating, charismatic individuals, indigenous peoples, Mexican Americans, Chinese immigrants, also some white migrants, and men and women, kind of equally balanced. And they're all just like these
men and women equally
people.
Balanced. What is this? A fiction book?
What's happening? What is happening right now? Including, Lindsay, I think the person you're going to love the most, which is a woman named Maria Gertrudis Barcelo, who builds for herself a gambling empire.
Spaghetti Western star, by the way. Just one.
In Santa Fe. And is the wealthiest, she's the wealthiest woman in New Mexico Territory when Stephen Kearny shows up in 1846 as part of the Mexican-American War. And her story is totally fascinating. She is a total badass. And I loved her. And
Awesome.
I think you would love her too.
I already do. Just like I already love you, always have, always will. So glad that Jimmy Mack introduced me to you. So glad that you have made the move. You have joined the resistance and followed us over to the new version of Road Gang Radio. We love you, Megan Kate. Release date again for the book?
April 21st, 2026.
will you make us a promise? You can say it now because a year from now, who knows? We could all be dead. But make us a promise that in
I'll be
April
dead in a
next
half
year, when the book comes out, you will we will have a book signing, a book release party for you in Nashville or New Orleans or both.
Absolutely.
Love it.
100%. I'm there.
Love it.
We'll do it.
Notorious riverboat gambler Megan Kate Nelson has joined us once again. Maybe she'll pull the lucky card this time. Let's give a big hand for the little lady that is Megan Kate Nelson. Thank you very
Hey, girl,
much.
hey. Love you, Megan.
I love you too. Have a great day, you guys.
Talk soon.
Bye.